Welcome to Smart Architectural Programming. My name is Mohammed, and coding alongside me is.
Is George, and today we'll be going over object-oriented programming. We'll just go over a couple concepts. I want to keep it simple and get straight to the point here. I'll let you take over, Mohammed.
Like with every other concept that we explained related to programming on our channel, we're going to explain object-oriented programming paradigm using direct code instead of going through the theoretical concepts that most people use to explain these concepts. It's better to just see exactly how these concepts look practically in real code. And just to give you a little bit context here, object-oriented programming along with functional programming are two programming paradigms that programmers employ to create programs. And it's just a matter of choice between what a personal programmer prefers, whether that's object-oriented programming or functional programming. It's just a matter of choice, but there are some benefits associated with both, and there's some drawbacks associated with both as well. But today in this video, we're just going to focus on object-oriented programming. So when we start, to put it simply, object-oriented programming has four important concepts that you need to understand to actually, to actually understand exactly what that is. If you understand what these four concepts are, you have a basic foundation in how to create objects and program using the creation of objects in whatever language you want to leverage. We're going to use Python to demonstrate it here, but you can use the knowledge you gain here in any programming language whatsoever, whether that be JavaScript, Java, whatever you're comfortable with. So the first concept for object-oriented programming is called encapsulation. What encapsulation means is we package data into data which are attributes or variables, and methods which are functions into a single unit or class. And this class we mostly call an object. Basically, this class that we're talking about, which contains attributes and methods, which are variables and functions simply, are is what we refer to as an object in object-oriented programming. So if you look at this, our first comment here, which mentions encapsulation, under that we have defined a class or an object called animal. And within that class called animal, we define two aspects to it. Again, attributes and methods, which are variables and functions. So, the first definition we have here is the init, where we define the attributes for this object. That's self.name, which is the name of the object, where we're going to store the name of the animal object that we're creating, and self.species, where we're going to save the species of the object. We'll define the species of the object. If you notice, there's a difference between the name and the species definition here. The name has a small dunder at the start. What does this mean? If you look at the comment here, it means it's a protected attribute. Now, you'll get more context into what exactly this means when we go to abstraction. That's the last concept of our OOP that we're going to discuss. But to just give you a little bit of knowledge about this here within encapsulation, it means basically a protected attribute is an attribute that nobody can touch outside of the object. So this is an object that cannot be changed, and this is a variable that cannot be changed or touched by any other piece of code outside of the object or the class that we define. So that's what's called a protected attribute. After that, we define the methods of the object. In this case, the animal object, where we define exactly different methods or functions that are going to that are specific to this object. But in this case, we just define one function called describe, which is simply reports the name and the species of the object in a string. The second concept of object-oriented programming is called inheritance. If you pay your attention here in this specific portion, so inheritance is a mechanism in which one class can inherit the attributes and methods of another class. To put that simply, we create subclasses that inherit the attributes and the methods of the main class. So if you notice here, we create another object called dog, which is using animal object as a parameter to that object, to this class, right? What this means is, we'll see down within the code, when we define, as we're defining our attributes within the dog object, we use the constructor class called super, and use that to inherit the init portion of the animal object that we defined above. What did the init portion contain? It contained the attributes we defined for the animal object, which includes self.name and self.species. And if you look at here, as we use the constructor class and we use the init, using constructor class, we're inheriting init. In the brackets, we are defining the name and the species of that particular of that this particular subclass or subobject. After that, we define the unique attribute of the subclass, which is self.breed, or the breed of the dog in question. Then we define, again, quite simply, what exactly the method or the function for this specific subclass called subobject called dog, which returns a woof woof string to string in response when we call the bark method that we defined here. The third concept related to object-oriented programming is called polymorphism. So what does polymorphism mean? Polymorphism is a concept that allows objects of different classes to be treated as objects of a common superuser. So you need to understand the important point here. It allows objects of different classes to be treated as objects of a common superuser.